I love doing these interviews with people to where we go back in time. We hear about the good old days. Ryan Gilleland, head baseball coach at Jefferson Forest, joined me for this one. We talked about my children, one of which will be graduating on Saturday, his children, being relational, and get this, Ryan Gilleland is a closet Swiftie. Well, not now because he's come out with this big admission. It's Ryan Gilleland on the Sports Buffet podcast. So Thacker called you. Larry Mays says you have a year. Now, psychology is not in the school system at that point?
It was. Actually, They had psychology. I taught psychology and sociology for my first 3 years. And I did. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of our players in class. And like I said, I was coaching football, basketball, and baseball, so I had a wide range of kids that I was teaching. I was probably a terrible teacher. I'm probably still a terrible teacher, but man, going into it, it's like I didn't major in education, and some of these people have master's degrees in education. I was like, the one thing I did know and I think I'm pretty good at building relationships with kids. And teaching is just like coaching. I mean, you have a lesson plan or you have a practice plan. You're going to have kids that have good days. You have kids that have bad days, and you got to be there to pick them up when they need it. And then sometimes bust their bubble when they get a little too cocky, for sure. But, kids are kids. And I get that question a lot. What's different between kids now and 25 years ago? It's not much. I mean, the kids are kids. Yes, technology's changed a lot, but, to be a good teacher and to be a good coach, I mean, you have to have that personal connection with players. And some of them it's harder than others. But you just got to get to know what makes it click for them. And you need to kind of learn. You got to know their situation. They all come from different backgrounds and different states. And some are coming from divorce situations. Some of them have single parents, and some of them, some kids have no money. Some kids have all the money in the world. And, you just kind of figure out what makes them tick. And I think that's a big part of teaching and coaching.
You're in your 30s when you start. You have Beckett and Merrick now to keep you, I'll say, young. Easier to be relational when you first started, or easier to be relational now?
Man, that's a good question. I think, and you interview a lot of coaches, and a lot of coaches that have been assistant coaches, and a lot of that have been head coaches, and some go back and be assistant coaches and then become head coaches again. And I think they're definitely two different roles. I think it is easier to establish connections earlier as an assistant coach, especially with your position group. So like for Jim, I was an assistant for 13 years, and basically he said, you take the infielders and basically do what you want with them. So, as an assistant, sometimes I think it's easier, but it doesn't mean as a head coach you still have to do that. So
does the classroom help make you more relational, though, or does knowing the kids, like I always ask this question, do you have to know the kids' music to be relational? Because when you're 30, you might know their music more than you do now, but you also have 2 kids now, and you might know their music. So it helps you know everybody's music, if that makes sense.
Man, I don't know our kids' music. I mean, in the locker room, I don't know what they're playing in there and what they're listening to. I mean, honestly, I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. Always have, but I don't think that's a big part of establishing a relationship. Obviously, that could be a connection. I mean, if you're I'll make myself vulnerable right here. I'm a Swiftie. Like I'm a Taylor Swift guy, and I know I'm going to get crap for that, and my wife gives me crap because she hates Taylor Swift.
My youngest daughter might love you even more right now.
So like we don't have any of our players listening to Taylor Swift. So,
no outward Swifties.
I'll be vulnerable with that, and if it comes on in between innings, I'll be singing it or whatever, and they probably think I'm an idiot. But I think it's a big part of coaching too, is that you have to be vulnerable. You have to share your experiences, and when you screw up too. I mean, I tell our kids all the time, I say, you guys are going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes this year, and I'll own it. I'm not going to run for it. I'm not going to make excuses, and I don't want you to do it either. That's part of growth, and coaching is part of growing up. It's part of playing baseball, which is a game of failure anyways. But, for my children, Beckett and Merrick, it's and obviously Beckett graduates tomorrow, and it's hard to believe it does go by that fast, and you understand this process as well. But for me as a coach, when my kids were little, I missed a lot of stuff. I missed their little league games. I missed a lot of them because I was out here. So you're trying to be a good dad and all that. So it becomes tough. But I deep down I knew, like, when they got older, they would understand my dad was always gone. So Kylie, God bless her. She's a great parent, great wife, and very supportive coach's spouse, which that should be a whole nother interview genre you get into, is interviewing coaches' spouses, because they have the hardest job ever. So yeah, it was hard for me when they were little, and now the roles have kind of reversed. Now Kylie's like, man, I miss my kids. You get them all day. You have them all the time. I was like, now you know how I felt when they were little. So in all coaches that have kids, they go through that, and it's hard. And as a head coach, I mean, the only thing I've ever known is to work hard. And I learned that from my dad, but it did make it easier from a parenting standpoint. But now, obviously, I get to enjoy it every single day out here with kids. Hard for my wife, but those are things that are hard for all coaches that have kids, and it's really hard. And I think sometimes the parents in our program kind of understand that. Sometimes they don't understand that, but when you're spending more time with their kids than your own kids, I think that's why some younger coaches get out of it when they're young, and I don't fault them at all for that. But for those of us that stay in it when our kids are young, man, I have a lot of respect for all the coaches that do that, because it is really hard.
Lee Luther, who was a photographer for the Amherst, Nelson County area, also worked at News and Events, recently passed away within the past year, but he had a great shot. I want to say it was you. Was it Beckett?
It was.
Where Beckett's giving you a hug. I want to say y'all had played at Liberty.
Yeah.
In a state tournament.
Right after the state championship game, we lost.
And, well, didn't mean to bring that bad memory up.
All right. That's a good memory.
But I look at it as you got to be a dad that day, and your kids hugging you on a field. Not a lot of people get that experience. So if you're kicking yourself at all for missing things,
yeah,
you had an experience that I'll never have.
Yeah, I mean, it was special. And my kids, they grew up here. I mean, they grew up at Thacker Field when they were little and running around, and I mean, running through the sprinklers when they were little in the summertime. So that's, those are special memories for sure. And most coaches that I know anyways, they want their kids around. They want them to be around and be a part of it. And it's definitely an education in and all of itself. When you have your 5-year-olds running around with 18-year-olds, and who knows what they're saying or what they're telling them. But our players have always been good to my kids and my family. And I wouldn't have it any way. I always wanted them around. I wanted them in the dugout when they could be here, and after games, when they were old enough to stay after our 11 p.m. ending games on Tuesday nights, which wasn't very often when they were really little. But yeah, that if you don't have a supportive spouse and your kids aren't supportive of it, I see why people get out of it. But luckily for me, I mean, Kylie knew what she was getting into with it, and she's a saint for putting up with me and my children and everything that goes along with what it takes to try your best to run a successful program, because it's changed a lot. I mean, it's not pick up the ball in February and put it down in May. I mean, now with practice year round, I mean, and I don't know, maybe I push our kids too hard, and maybe I push our staff too hard, but that's kind of the only thing we know of how to do it right, is to, and we give them off the summer, but pick it up again in September and October, and then pick it back up.
You got dead periods here and there, but you're not really ever dead, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, summertime's great to put. I mean, I do help coach one of my son's travel teams, but I get to be an assistant coach, which is great. Don't have to deal with all the stuff that comes with being a head coach in the summer.
Coach first base?
Hey man, I coach first base. I've been a pitching coach in the summer, so it's great. And I think developmental, like as a coach, I still try to learn a lot. So,
how different is coaching first base and third base?
Well, that's why I kind of cut my teeth at JF coaching first with Jim. It's definitely different. Definitely a little bit more pressure in making decisions and things like that. But it's different. But I mean, they were both both fun. They're both very important parts of the process.
Two final questions. Dinner's probably getting cold for somebody. When did you get when did you know or get the call that, hey, Coach Thacker's going to take a couple years off, which he did go watch his sons play baseball in college, and you're going to be the head guy?
Yeah, so, I mean, I always knew I wanted to be a head coach, and obviously deep down in my soul, I wanted to be the head coach here. Not many people are willing to wait 13 years to be a head coach at the school, but I mean, this is what I know. I mean, I interviewed. I was offered several other jobs in the past.
But was it 13 before you became I'll call you the interim head coach?
So in 2008 is when Jim took a year off to watch his kids play at Roanoke. So I was the interim coach that year, and that's the year Beckett was born. So he was born in May, right in the middle of the season, right there. But yeah, so I mean, we had a successful year that year, and Jim had told me, he's like, I don't know, I might come back, I might not come back. He's like,
but when did you know you were going to be the head coach for that year?
I think it was in the summer. I think Jim had called me and said, I think this is what I want to do. And, and he's like, I think I can let you be the interim. We had to go through all the administration and everything to get that done. So, yeah, I mean, I had a heads up, but I mean, again, we didn't have all out of season practices back then. So it really was just, starting with our preseason stuff in January. And back then you couldn't do anything with the ball. You couldn't hit, you couldn't really throw or anything like that. But
the kids know you too, though.
Yeah. I had been there for 7 years, and we had a good group coming back too. So it was a good situation to be in. And then Jim comes back for 5 more years. So I knew, I mean, like I said, I had some opportunities along the way right there, but they just deep down didn't feel right at the time. So, I mean, I'm glad I waited it out, and we had some really successful years as an assistant. I learned a ton, obviously, from Jim. I mean, going from assistant coach to head coach it's very different, from the fundraising to the field maintenance to the, just keeping up with the kids and the grades, and just, you're the guy, you gotta set up your JV program, and then eventually, obviously, our middle school program, and, coming in after a legend. And a lot of people are like, it's probably not the best thing to do. You don't want to be the first guy after a legend. You want to be the second guy after a legend. So I had to take that on head on for sure, right from the start. But, I think we had done a good job of developing continuing to develop our program over that time period before I got the job there in 2014.
I look at it this way. You had the 3 gems of Seminole baseball: White, Cutler, and Thacker. And between the 3 of them, you might literally have at least 50 years, maybe even close to 100 between the 3 guys, because they've just been coaching forever. And I'm not trying to knock any of them when I say that, but those jobs weren't easy to come by.
No, they weren't. Yeah, and Seminole's always been strong in baseball, and those jobs didn't open up very often. And yeah, I just had to wait my turn and keep learning as much as I could till I had the opportunity.
Who was your first game against? Has the Ryan Gilleland's a permanent head coach?
Permanent head coach. So, I do remember in 2008, it was against Cave Spring right here.
First game.
That was the first one in 2008. 2013, I don't remember. I'd have to go back and check that one. But
what were the emotions or nerves when you are the guy? The first game that you remember. So we'll go with Cave.
I mean, I think it's the same every year, to be honest with you. You you practice, you scrimmaged, and then it's.
But you've never been head coach, so right. It still was the same?
I think so. I mean, and our kids will probably tell you that I'm probably a little anal for some of the stuff we do defensively, and how much we review and how much we work on defense. But that is definitely something I learned from Jim, is that you want to be really strong pitching and defense, because that travels. Offensively, sometimes you're going to face a dude. You're going to face a Ben Blair. You're going to face some of those guys that are just unbelievable stuff, where if you can still pitch and play defense and keep a low-scoring game, you might still have a chance at the end of the game right there. So I think I still take that to heart. And our kids will probably tell you that they wish that we would take batting practice on the field more than we do. Maybe do some more offensive drills on the field than we really do. But it's been a pretty successful recipe for us is pitching and defense. And I think this season's a good example of that too. We got guys that throw strikes and we don't make a ton of errors. And that usually keeps you in every game.
Got to go back in time. How'd you like it?
Man, we went to a lot of different places, Bob, which is good. I mean, they're all great memories, and everybody's journey is a little bit different, and all the different people you come in contact with, and all the different sports, whether it's the media like yourself or a former classmate like yourself, and
then you teach my kids.
And yeah, taught your kids as well, which
both of them,
yeah, very smart children. I don't know if
nothing
they got
like
it
their
from
father,
you.
not at all.
I was going to say I don't know if they got it from you or not, but yeah, great kids, and they're very respectful children, and just like I said, baseball and teaching is very similar. I just want our kids to be productive members of society and be good people. Ultimately, that's what people are going to measure on. It's not how many wins you get or how many home runs you hit. It's can you make a difference in someone else's life in the future?
Final thing, you've seen probably a lot of home runs here, right?
A few.
Okay.
I think I still see the one Dalton Wentz hit on us going over the scoreboard.
See, I still see the one Wes Clark hit that's going to left field somewhere, and it's landed in the old cow pasture. Yeah. Well, there was no La Coretta when we were growing up there. There was nothing.
Yeah.
But I got to imagine that one home run hit at this park is probably more special than others. Beckett.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So yeah. The other night, Beckett's senior night home run, and yeah, that's definitely something he or I will never forget. I know the game didn't turn out the way it did, but I think over time you kind of maybe forget the wins and losses and those special moments, for sure. And that's it's never easy coaching your own kids, but Beckett makes it very easy to do that. He's respectful, he listens, and is a great student as well.
I'm going to bring up more names next time that are really going to make your head scratch, just so I can have something to go by. Appreciate it, G.
All right, thank you. That was a good time.